The Dark Man by Edith Layton. It was the perfect lover's night. The moon drifted over London like a great phosphorescent excursion balloon, so close to the earth it drowned even the gaslights in its eerie radiance. The night was bright and still and clear, uncommonly warm for late autumn, just chilly enough so that a lady might take a shivering step closer to a gentleman so that he might put an arm around her without feeling like a cad. But when the gentleman led her out onto the balcony to make his proposal, she determined it somehow inappropriate. It may have been only her nerves. She was anxious, although she had been expecting it, at the same time doubting it. It may have been because she felt a kiss would have been more appropriate than words at the moment, and he'd never kissed her. It might have been because of the way he finally said it, for he didn't ask it. He said it. That was the crux of it. Of course, she didn't think so at the moment. She wasn't thinking at all just then, only waiting her turn to speak. Yes, gazing up at him. He pressed his lips to her forehead and murmured, "Thank you, my dear. You'll not regret it. I promise." "Shall we announce it tonight? After all, I spoke with your father this morning, and have already sent in the notice to the Times." "But what if I'd refused?" Miss Swanson blurted. He laughed as an answer. He was, after all, the most sought-after eligible titled gentleman in the town, and had been for years. She, the country girl, fresh to town, had won the bachelor every mamma had thrown her daughters at, including her titled uncle's wife with their 7 daughters, and her father only a country squire. Oh, yes, jealousy and envy runs deep within London's aristocracy, even within families, more especially within families. So Eve Swanson was about to learn, once the engagement was announced in the ballroom, more especially in the days to come. For a lady new to town with little town bronze, she might not understand the on dit and the gossip that fed the upper societies. True or not. In fact, the less likely it was to be true, the better. And good heavens, the embellishments that could accompany a spiteful prattler to weave from a little truth, especially if it could possibly cause harm enough to free the eligible earl for a more suitable match, then the better. So here the story goes. Eve Swanson, expecting a faithful husband, finding a betrothed with a less than perfect past and less than loving parents to teach him any better, has learned on his own to avoid scandal. He should do exactly as he ought and never waver from it. Follow the town rules exactly without allowing one's feelings to show outwardly. The problem arises when you allow your heart to take a leap of faith, but don't know how to open that same heart and show it, especially to a heart that is open and expectant. When Eve releases him from the engagement, her parents' embarrassment and anger is so deep, she finds herself banished to the farthest parts of England, to a pair of superstitious aunts. There she has time to rethink her expectations and remembers what her ex-betrothed had shared. She only then realizes she allowed envious tongues of jealousy ruin her one chance of love. And he did love her, she now realized. How lonely she was, and nothing to do about it. Even when her parents forgive her and come to fetch her, and in doing so throw a Christmas Eve ball, inviting all of the town, except, of course, the one earl she wants to see. All the while, that one earl, realizing he should have done exactly what one should not be expected to do, but he also realizes it's too late, most probably. Until he has one friend too many remind him, he always does exactly as expected. Every time. He then decides to do the unexpected and show up uninvited to the ball, only to find the eclectic aunt's superstitions have him barred from entry because he's not dark enough. Not dark enough! This is beyond his comprehension. The butler explains. The old ladies would have his head if he allowed anyone to cross the threshold after midnight who was not dark of face. Tall, which the earl did feel that one. A bachelor, that too he was. High arched foot, carried a bit of coal and a silver coin in one pocket, salt and mince pie in the other, a bottle of whiskey in his right hand, and steps on his right foot and says, "I wish you health, I wish you wealth, I wish you happiness and cheer, good luck in all you do, and a healthy, happy new year." Then he drinks with the family and leaves by the back door, which is then locked up tight to keep the luck inside. But I fears me Lord, Tom Jenkins, who fits the description every year, ain't expected to near about 3 a.m. in the earliest, possibly daybreak. Dear God, he must find this Tom Jenkins and get him back here right away. So the Viscount finds himself embroiled in a mad caper in order to reach his loving time. I rate this story an A-. The fun starts at the end, and I wish it had been a larger part of the short story. The Earl is led on a merry chase, and I can think of a lot of humor that could have come of it, but not enough to give it an any lower rating. Of course, she has the heat level of a 1.